Welcome everyone to our February virtual circle. I am going to be making it a point to be doing one virtual circle for us every month. So that way we can all still check in with each other, especially if you don't have like local or physical community or sister circles or what have you. At least you know that you have this every month and something to return to. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with myself, which everyone in here knows me, but um, but I'm Mariah Raven. I'm a holistic healer, a spiritual life coach, a holistic wellness advocate, um, and a million and one other things. And I'll be your sacred facilitator this evening. So before we get started into the circle, I always like to go over what I call the pillars of integrity. And this is to just ensure that everyone is on the same page in regards to this being a safe and a sacred space, as well as, giving yourself permission to be fully open and to be able to fully be present in this space. And it's hard to do, it's hard to find spaces where we can be like that in today's world. So the first pillar of integrity is confidentiality. What happens in circle stays in circle. So anything that is shared tonight will not leave this space. Now, if like any of you in the circle want to chat outside the circle further about things, that's fine, but no one outside of here is going to see this other than the other women in our private group. You may see a kid walk through here. Please make sure you close the door, okay? But this is to just ensure that it's full privacy. So the second pillar of integrity is active listening. So when we have the open speaking portion at the end, we're just making sure that whoever is speaking at the time, we're giving them our full attention. Especially as empaths and as women, we tend to want to find something to relate to the person who is sharing with, especially if they're going through something. It's kind of our way to be like, I know what you're going through, I feel you, and which there's nothing wrong with. But when we do that, we tend to, we're not actually listening, we're like remembering. So there's a difference. And then the third sorry guys, can everybody turn your Bluetooths off? I don't know who it is in the house, so everybody is getting it. But the third pillar of integrity is conscious speaking. So when it's your turn to speak, if you're feeling comfortable to speak, you don't have to. Just know that there is no box you need to fit into. If you're needing to share something and it has nothing to do with what we've talked about tonight, or if everybody is like sharing like positive things and you're just absolutely going through it and like what you need to share is like super heavy, don't worry that you're going to bring down the vibe of the room. Don't feel like, share whatever is coming up. That is meant for you to share. That's why this is a sacred space. These spaces are healing. So don't hold back. There's no filter, no mask you need to fit in. All of you is welcome here. So as we get started, I'm just going to say a little prayer to open up the space. So if it feels right and safe for you, go ahead and close your eyes and place your hands on your heart, or a hand on your heart and one on your womb space. In this moment, we welcome the divine. Goddess, Creator, we welcome you and ask you to be here with us in this circle. And may you share your divine wisdom in this space. We call upon and welcome the wise and well ancestors of all of those present here in this space tonight, as well as the ancestors on the ancestral homelands on which we reside. We honor you and we welcome you into this space. And we ask that you also share your divine wisdom, guidance, and protection in this space. May everything in this circle tonight and everything shared be helpful, beneficial, and healing for all. And may this healing ripple out into wider circles when we leave this circle. And so it is. Me, he is a poet. Oh, I just totally blew my candle out. Hold on a second. Oh, that was hilarious. So Rumi is a poet, and I absolutely love Rumi's work. He writes all about like love and like the divine union and all of that. So this deck to me always feels like love. And when I thought about this month's circle had to be around, like not the cliche like Valentine's love, but like giving love back to ourselves, that so that we can give love back to our community, is really like what it found. Cassie said she found the chat. Yay! It's the more you look, the more you'll see. There's so many things that you can do on here. So the card that I got it's called, now first of all, the card is the number 9 in in the deck, and it's interesting to me because it's a 9-year in numerology. So the fact that we pulled the number 9 card is like amazing. So this is what the card looks like, and it's called The Impossible Made Possible. I'll kind of scan it since it's like a bigger, but if I can get my light to not like be a light for a second, There we go. Very much like some outer space, It almost reminds me of when I think of what it would be like to go back to like 0 point or like source consciousness. That's kind of what that image feels like for me. And I will take the picture and I'll post it in the group and in the group chat. And I do want to start getting my email list back up and going. So if anyone wants to be a part of that, make sure you drop your email in the chat, and I will write it down. So that was our card, The Impossible Made Possible. So it starts off with a poem from Rumi, and then it dives in deeper. So, love brings the sea into boiling and turns the mountain into a pebble. Love creates infinite openings in the dark sky and shudders the earth with its magnitude. That was the poem. And then it says, she spins, this great earth goddess, upon invisible strings amidst a wildly pulsating ballet of life. Stars are born, live and die all around her. Life moves in constant flux, and still she spins in her great, loving, and constant pirouette. How can this be? All of creation is born from nothing. Out of endless silence and darkness, light emerges. What strange magic is this? The sun heats the solar system and burns with the power to destroy life. Yet it is a force by which life is sustained. Surely this makes no sense and cannot be. We dance in the realm of the impossible made possible. Constantly, you and I. We are so engrossed in it, so familiar with it, and yet blind to it, that these constant impossibilities happening in every moment fail to inspire us. Yet what are your biggest, boldest, most extraordinarily impossible dreams compared to this great impossibility of life itself? Ah, they are but tiny seeds in the Creator's masterful hand, being now planted in the heavenly garden. Yes, they are being planted right now, for the moon tells us the time is right. Most tenderly shall they be watched over, nurtured into the fullness according to the season. Yes, that growth is assured. The impossible is now made possible. And then it says, we only limit what we believe to be possible by our lack of imagination. The divine has recourse to all that is and all that is yet to be. Is there any limit to the resources of the heavens? No. So then why has not every impossible dream now been rendered possible? Indeed manifest in shining glory upon the earth. The human heart knows everything envisioned can manifest according to the divine timing and grace. Yet the mind does not quake with fear, so much so that it will not listen to the heart at times. That fear is like a childish nightmare, that should you offer yourself up to the loving power of the great Creator, you might be found to be lacking. The mind holds itself captive with dark fantasies of that profound rejection and then avoids confronting it directly at all costs. It creates barriers instead, truly nothing more than lines in the sand, yet believed to be forts. But what strongholds can resist love? It is like water. It seeps into every available space and changes form to survive in every environmental condition. With unfailing intelligence, it creates life from stream to ice, rainfall, the river and ocean, rain descending into snowflakes, snow capping the peak, expressing itself with beauty and genius. It nestles under the earth and rises to the sky, only to return to the earth again. It will erode blockages and fail and prevail, no matter how long that process takes. It carves the earth into shape and form. Where it is, there is life. Such is the adaptable intelligence and persistence of water, just as the power of love. So now you are guided by this loving power to drop the doubt, shed the incredulity, and open up the mind. Allow your imagination to be inspired as though you are a child in a great garden, hearing the breath of the earth in the wind whipped leaves and the voice of the ancestors in the bird song. The universe wants something to happen for you, something beautiful, something utterly improbable, and something perfect for your path, your own unique divine destiny. Your mind will wonder if it is even possible. People around you may wonder the same thing, but your heart will burn for it to become real, to become more than a fantastic, improbable dream. You'll want it with all your soul. You may not even be consciously aware as yet what this great desire is, but your heart knows. It holds the secret knowledge and will unveil when your mind can handle it. When your heart is much more powerful than your mind, you won't unintentionally block the incredible grace of manifestation seeking to pour itself into your thirsty soul like the sweetest, purest waters of blessing. And I thought that that was a beautiful card for tonight for us all. And I really love that I pulled from that deck because I actually haven't touched that deck in at least a year. And when when I pulled that card, it felt like it could not be any other card. It, especially with the card being a 9, and right now, and this is going to take me into our theme of the circle tonight. So the card is speaking about making the impossible possible. And really, what better time than the time that we're in right now to be able to really feel into that energy, because right now there are so many things happening all over the world, all over the country. And there's a lot of things that are happening that are intentionally put in place to activate fear, to activate rage, to activate division and separation even more. And the funny thing that I see about it, the stuff that they're not wanting the media to cover, is that they're actually doing the exact opposite, because we're seeing them coming after people, right? And people's rights. However, I have not seen the people come together so strong, so fast in my life. So while they are trying to divide us, that's what I wanted to speak to the most for tonight, is that the biggest and really only way that I feel that we can make it through this time is community. It's with our communities like this, being able to support and hold space for each other from different parts of the world. And it's also our local communities, and if maybe you don't have something in your community, then maybe that's your invitation to start, when we started shifting out of the end of 2024 into 2025, I kept hearing over and over and over, hold the light, hold the light. Even since coming into 2025, with all of, we wake up every day and there's more news to wake up to, that is this even real life that we are living in right now? And the thing is, where attention goes, energy flows. And so while they are, doing all of these things and outright, very boldly, breaking so many laws and doing so many things, they want us afraid, they want us angry because we are not thinking straight. We've seen this happen so many times in history. The details might have been different, but the playbook is always the same. And it's kind of like that graphic. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that graphic of the men sitting around the chessboard and all these people are hunched over underneath the chessboard. That's kind of where we're at right now. Once we truly realize the power that we have together is truly when, like I said, mom life, you're going to see kids crossing the house. The bathroom's over here. Their room's on that side of the house. But like I said, we're really going to have to come together through this, because they're going to keep doing these things that are going to activate us. We can't fall for it. We can't fall for it. I know everybody, believes different things, and all is welcome here, like we said at the beginning. For myself personally, I'm a believer that, those of us who are here right now, our souls signed up to be here in this lifetime to kind of listen. We're here to make change. We're really here to it's like in tarot, right? We have the Tower card. It's complete and utter destruction and upheaval necessary in order to rebuild a stronger, sturdier foundation. Hey, baby. And and in order for us to do that, to really do that, we have to be willing to look at the ugly stuff. We have to be willing to face it. But like I said, where attention goes, energy flows. We can't feed into the anger and the fear bait. We can't. We have to recognize it for what it is. And then remember that even energetically, all of us are arm in arm right now. We are holding the light. And we've heard it said before, the revolution will not be televised. We've heard it said before that World War III is spiritual. They weren't lying. My whole life, I have had reoccurring dreams of apocalyptic situations, end of one type of civilization kind of dreams. And now I understand, it it makes total sense. It was preparing me for this. Not saying that that's where we're heading, but it was the symbolism. Prepare yourself, prepare yourself. And here we are, So big on the community, and remember that we are the lighthouses in the storm right now. Those of us who understand that this is very much as above, so below. So as hard as it is for us to, there's like that fine line, right? The duality. And that's something that I was going to speak to. All right. Is it's almost like right now we're entering the time that like we've been preparing for our whole lives with the shadow work, with, being able to do all of our healing to get to know like the light and the dark aspects of ourselves. Now we're really entering that time where, as much as we see, there's also so much more going on spiritually. So even if all we can do, because I saw a post yesterday and it was talking about doomerism and like what is doomerism, and it was saying how doomerism is pretty much when there is big like nationwide or global things happening, and it's purposely being curated to create the mass fear and the mass like rage bait and all of that. We have to recognize that for what it is and not fall into it. So we're obviously going to get mad, like this is ridiculous, but we also have to understand that getting angry, the energy of anger can be used for purposeful change, for purposeful action. So a Harvard student found out that the human brain only holds onto an emotion for 90 seconds. Anything after that is what we've attached to. So if we can understand that and be like, okay, and like, especially in these times where we're getting angry, okay, each and every one of us is an embodiment of the goddess. Each and every one of us. And when we are we feel it in our bones, okay? We come from women who have been persecuted for generations, okay? Like globally, our bones feel it, our blood feels it. So this isn't new to us, not the part of us that knows, So what we have to do now is, when these things are making us angry, we have to remember that 90 seconds. How can we sit with that anger, that frequency? Because it can be used just the same as life force frequency. It's just as powerful to make change. So how can we sit with that anger and listen to her? And what can you use that energy to consciously create and like direct it towards change, as if you're wielding it like a sword? But what is your intention for wielding it? We could get really specific with it. So, and just remembering that it's going to be really important that we're there for each other. And that's also why my circles are gender inclusive. Like, so my sister's circles is very much for women and LGBTQ, and there's a reason for that. And as we're entering into more of the times that we're in, it's kind of obvious why we need those spaces. And it's really important that we're there for each other, that we protect each other, and it's also really important that we protect ourselves. So when I was speaking to the doomerism, it being when like a group or an organization can create this mass fear and get people to the point of feeling like, well, all this stuff is happening, I shouldn't even do anything because what's the point? Really like taking people's hope away. But we need to remember that even if all you're doing right now is creating boundaries and withdrawing within, so that way you can balance your mental health, your spiritual health, so you can, you know, maybe less outside distraction and more going in right now, connecting with your guides, connecting with your ancestors, especially the ones who have survived through times like these. You know, those are the ones you really want to connect with, because they're going to be such great guides. We have one foot in the light and one foot in the dark. And when I speak to the dark, I don't mean evil. You know, the dark gets a bad rep. And I will say this until my lungs give out. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And my life was so rough through that. And for the longest time, I was in my hyper masculine as a survival technique. And so my journey in healing and coming back to myself and my womb healing and what I call the great softening into my feminine, which is the hardest thing to do, by the way, has been such an eye-opener, because it's been so specific. Like, I've always found myself, when someone is like listing off, specific traits or clicks or cliches or what have you, I never really fit into those. And it was because my story is so specific. And it got to the point where I stopped like sharing that, because it started either feeling like I was taking the attention away, because my story, or I felt like it was kind of like a burden in a way, like that I was not like the norm. So I was having to have people kind of reach outside of a box that they were comfortable in. And then I realized, like, that's because I was in the wrong spaces. And that once I started actually speaking my truth and sharing my story, once I found circle and circle facilitation, I was like, oh, it's on. Like, your vibe does attract your tribe. So I will attract women who are on the same frequency as me, or who are drawn to, and my point being, the more dark feminine aspect of things. Like, if we think about Lilith or Medusa, we know the story that we were spoon-fed, and then we know the truth that we learned once we were able to think for ourselves and do research for ourselves, and we realized that they were demonized and what we were taught was wrong. And how many of us can relate to that story? I bet you every single one of us in this room can relate to that somehow. So that's what I mean. Like, we all found each other. We're in this room right now. We could have all been doing anything else tonight, but here we are. So it just goes to show you. And with that, the dark getting the bad rep, there is so much that comes from the dark. Even Rumi himself said that only once I was broken, the light was able to come in. And that goes to show you, like, how do we really get to that point? By sitting in the dark. You can't find the light without it. And the same thing goes for our shared and our lived experiences, the things that we go through, the silencing, the shame, being disconnected from each other, being disconnected from the earth, the sister wound, the mother wound, like the witch wound. Like, we could just go on and on and on about all of these things that affect each and every one of us. And it's not okay. Like, we have to be able to acknowledge the dark. Okay. And if we even think about, like, plant life, right? Like, it grows in the dark soil. It grows up through the dark soil. So how beautiful is that? Plants in the winter time, they send all of their energy to their roots deep into the ground so that they can survive and then come back again in the spring. That's kind of why we, as parts of nature, feel that call to go to our roots in the winter time and kind of clear the schedule and hibernate. So really just recognizing that even though we are in these dark times, it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be bad. We are the torch-bearing goddesses in this time. We are the ones who understand. Well, we three fingers. We understand what's going on right now, and we can get angry, we can get mad, we shouldn't suppress those things, but how can we use that anger and how can we use that for fuel, for change, to come together? Where is the resilience? Where is the resistance? It's always been with the folks. Always been with the folks. In the circles, in the secret meetings, it was called underground for a reason. Okay. And that's what I really feel like these sacred circles are going to become in the times that we're coming into. Places for us to gather, places for us to support each other, places to hold that protection and to network. I have this, or you grow that, and this person does this, and this is how we network and connect, and this is how we survive. So it's really up to us to understand that and to know that we are actively, even though all of this is going on in front of us, there are timelines, and I can feel it as sure as I see you guys in this chat room with me right now. There are timelines where we've already made it through this. There are timelines where we've already succeeded, and we have to hold on to that and remember that. Because where we are now, we can't get focused on what they're putting in our faces. We have to stay connected. We have to stay connected. And we have to stay connected. And together, we are holding that vision of what that timeline looks like so we can bridge. So we can call it into being, into the now. And this is how we hold that vision and we birth that new earth that we know it can be outside of what it's been. Everything is crumbling because there's no more time. Astrologically speaking, it's time. Spiritually speaking, it's time. And it's scary to look at, but it's because we're really eradicating all of the rotten from the roots, from the foundation, from the floorboards, all the way down. And if we can remember that it's just temporary, we just got to clear it out. We just got to keep standing together. Literally, yesterday at every single state, people gathered in protest. How powerful is that? They won't show you it on the news, but every single state. I am so proud of New York City. We showed up and out. It was incredible. And there's going to be these kinds of continuing, they're calling it the tender revolution, which I love our generation for, by the way. Like literally having them shut down the ICE hotline because everybody was calling to report Elon. Let's just be real, that's hilarious. I even saw a video of someone and they were lacing up their shoes, they were getting ready to run, and they were like, I'm a fully documented citizen, but I'm getting ready to waste all of ICE's time with them chasing me. And I was like, bet, this is what I love. And and that kind of takes it back to there is something that all of us can do too, whether it's pouring into yourself, whether it's taking care of your mental health in this time and just showing up how you can when you can. Some people, they don't have kids and attachments, and they can go out there in the streets every single day and they're screaming, and all of us have a part to play in this. Each of us is a cog. If it's clockwork, each of us is a gear. And so no matter, that's why we have to tune in, because that's how you're going to know what's best for you. And I've been hearing too that it's not the time of taking on new knowledge, new classes, new things. It's a time of really honing in and deepening in on what we know and what our gifts are, because that's really going to be what we can bring to the table. There was some notes that I screenshotted about today, actually. So I'm not an astrologist. So I got this from Spirit Daughter. And it says, on February 18th, we enter Pisces season, which will bring us our first eclipse season of the year. So here we go. Pisces represents the universal consciousness we are all connected to. This, in combination with eclipse season, opens up a portal for unlimited possibilities. With the North Node and the Sun in Pisces, we are encouraged to feel our oneness with the universe. I really like the visualization of thinking about the ocean or thinking about a large body of water, and the water itself is that oneness, is that source that we are all a part of. And then on the top of the water, each and every little wave, that's us. That's us individually, all connected to that one larger source. And I thought that was really beautiful, but also simple way, of understanding that. It says everything you desire is already yours. You just need to dissolve the self-imposed barriers you've created that block our manifestation. How funny is that? Because it goes right along with our card. It says we also have Venus retrograde beginning March 1st, helping our heart to find needed closure. This transit may bring up memories or ghosts from 2017. Feel these emotions resurface and then align with Pisces energy to dissolve them into the energy of the universe. So remember that these feelings are not yours to keep and hold on to, but rather that they are visitors. It says Pisces season is the final season of the astrological year. We know that next month is the spring equinox, which spiritually speaking is our new year, right? So let Pisces, eclipse season, and Venus retrograde help you find the endings you need to open space for new energy that allows you to manifest the life you're here to live. So really using this time to allow whatever flows through you to flow through you so that you can transmute it and send it back to source. So that way you can that way it's open space now that's allowing you to align to your dharma, to the path that your soul and the purpose that your soul chose to be here in this life. So really quickly, I just want to drop us into a guided meditation. I'm going to let my little guy go by first. Okay. But we're gonna do a guided meditation. So if it feels safe for you, I invite you to go ahead and either lay back or sit back in your seat. I'm going to play a little music in the background to help us drop in and feel it even more. Okay. So I invite you to close your eyes, bringing your awareness to your breath. Breathing in and out. Feeling with every breath your body softening and relaxing. As you breathe, scan your body, bringing your awareness to any places in your body that have tension, any tightness. And as you inhale, feeling that tightness release. Inhaling in love and life force energy. And exhaling tension, stress. Feeling your body sinking and softening as you begin to root and ground down. Feeling your roots growing deep through your floor, through the foundation of your building, deep into the soil. Knowing that all you need is to just be here now. With every breath, the roots grow deeper, down past the bedrock, down past the bones of the ancestors, down into the core of Mother Earth, and anchor here. Feeling her hold you, feeling her love, how she's always there to provide us with what we need and to show us that there's beauty even in the raw wildness. As you anchor here, I want you to feel that interconnectedness that is you with all. And as you breathe, I want you to visualize threads in front of you, a beautiful white glowing thread. And as you span out, you notice that this thread is connected to all these other light threads, recognizing that this is that connection to all. Each and every one of us are light that we're here to shine in this life. This is the interconnectedness of us all. Now I want you to envision that you are entering your womb space, placing your hands on your lower belly, whispering to yourself, I am here. And as you enter your womb space, you see that it is this bright, beautiful space. Taking a note of what you see. Maybe if you're sitting up, you find yourself coming into a nice sway, gentle sway. Sitting in your womb space, I want you to ask her, what is it that she needs you to know? Maybe it's how to better show up for yourself. Maybe she's calling you to learn to live in sync with her. Maybe she's just telling you to take your damn power back, to be seen and to be heard, that you are worthy, that you don't need to do anything to be worthy. You just are. Now, if you're sitting up, I invite you to come into a spiral. As you inhale, leaning your chest forward, coming around, and as you get to the back, you're exhaling and arching your back, envisioning your spine, making this beautiful spiral, your hips, your womb space, making this beautiful spiral. And as we spiral, we rise up out of our womb space and into our heart space, taking our time, really feeling and enjoying the journey there. And as you get to your heart space, I want you to picture a huge open field. And in the center of this field is your command chair. Walk over and take your seat. Sitting in this chair, you may notice that sitting next to you now is your higher self. She is the version of you who knows all, the version of you who is always there to guide you, who is here to help you achieve your soul's purpose in this lifetime. I want you to put your hands on your heart and say to yourself, or even better out loud, I give myself permission. I give myself permission to feel. I give myself permission to rise. I give myself permission just to be. Say, I love myself. I forgive myself. And now, bringing your awareness back to your breath, coming back to that spiral, asking your higher self if there's anything she needs you to know, what she wants you to take forward. As you bid her farewell, we begin to rise. Rise as we're spiraling, rising up into our throat chakra. This space where we speak our truth, associated with the color blue. Now I invite you to just take your hands to your throat and very gently just massage the back of your neck, giving that space some love. Maybe gently holding that space and just envisioning a beautiful dark blue spiraling all around your throat chakra, all around your energy field. Ask yourself, ask your throat chakra what message you need to know moving forward. How can you best Speak your truth. Share your story. You never needed permission to share your truth, to be who you came here to be. You just needed to see that for yourself. And now, coming back to your breath, coming into a sway, if you haven't already, wiggling your fingers and toes, shaking your hands, blinking your eyes open and coming back into this space. If you need to shake, move a little bit, shake and move. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into a couple of journal prompts. And so I have 3. And I have a little of like background, like music to play in the background. So that way you can really drop in and you don't feel rushed or anything like that. So the first journal prompt is, and I'll type it in the chat as well, in case anyone needs to look back at it. The first journal prompt is, how can I keep my heart painfully open to the world? How can I keep my heart painfully open to the world? And I say this because in these times, it is hard to stay heart-centered when there's so much going on. So how can we stay painfully heart open? I'll give you guys a little time. I'm gonna give it a few more moments. 20 more seconds. Okay. So the next journal prompt that I have, and actually I see a couple people still writing, so I'm just gonna give a few more moments so that I don't want to rush anyone. Okay. So our second journal prompt is, what can I do in my own power and gifts to be an active offering to my community? Okay. I have one last journal prompt for us, and I thought I had it written down as something else, but I guess I did not. So the journal prompt is, how can I express my love towards all the faces of the universe? And what I mean by all the faces of the universe is everyone that comes into our vortex, the people that we see every single day, how can we recognize that each and every one of them is the beloved, right? And how can we express our love towards them? So recognizing that oneness again in all of us. There's one of my favorite quotes from Ram Dass is meet everyone like they're God and drag, and I love that. So okay, but I'm going to go ahead and type this out. I'll start the music as well. But how can I express my love towards all the faces of the universe. I found this one interesting because of that duality. Like, how can we really be those embodiments of, you know, of unconditional love, of that fierce divine feminine flame in these times? And it's even harder in times that are so trying to be that light and to remember that we are love, that we can come back to that frequency of love. So I wanted us to dig a little deep. Just giving it a couple more moments. Okay. So while we're still sitting in and feeling all of the energy from the guided meditation, from the journal prompts, I want to step into an embodiment piece, because we can dive deep, but the integration is in really allowing ourselves to move and integrate it into ourselves. So, and as women, our trauma gets stored in our hips, right? And we all understand that the body does hold on to emotion, the body does hold on to memory, and it holds on to repressed emotions. You know, you'd be surprised if you are having a constant like pain in a certain body part and you actually Google like what are the emotions that are trapped in said body part. You're going to be amazed to find out that it's exactly what you're going through at that time. And then how can I move that body part, or what can I do to stretch it out or give it what it needs to actually really release it from the body? Because we have more bodies than just our physical body, you know. So but that's a whole thing. So we're going to go into an embodiment piece. I love to guide us through moving. And so I know that this can all feel uncomfortable. Yes, somatic exercises, the body wisdom is so real. So, and I know people can sometimes get uncomfortable with that. So if your computer isn't off, go ahead or if your screen isn't off and you want to turn it off to feel more comfortable, go ahead. I'm going to end up turning mine off, and just because I'm about to go wild over here. But so when I put this song on, it's a softer song. And the reason that I chose this song is because it's called Divine Surrendering. And Katie and Mel, I know you two will recognize this song because I've used this in circles before. This is a beautiful love song to yourself, but also to the universe. I like to use the word soul render when it comes to this kind of energy, because it's like a surrendering on a soul level. And so while we're listening to this song, really take your time, come into a nice sway, you know, come into nice spirals, or moving your hips in figure eights. Allow yourself to get sensual with it. Get uncomfortable. No one is watching. This is for let your body talk. Okay. And so if you feel tension in certain areas, how can you move and shift that out? If like just let it flow. But I also encourage you to get sensual with yourself with the song. I really want us to tap into and come back to that self-love, right? Surrendering to that self-love. So feeling your face as you're dancing, like maybe hugging yourself as you're moving, just allowing yourself to really, really feel into this. So I'm going to shut off my camera and I'm going to put on the song and just let yourself drop and give yourself permission for this little bit of time. Just carve it out for yourself because you'll be so glad you did. Okay. And this playlist is available if anyone wants it. So. Give up control again. It's okay not to know again. Feeling in the dark, crawling till I walk. Each time that I fall, divine, remembering. Holding on too tight, trying till I'm tired from the fight. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Are you done? Safe to surrender now. Safe to remember how. Safe to surrender now. Safe to remember how. I release what is not meant for me. I believe what's meant for me will be for me. Feeling in the dark, crawling till I walk. Each time that I fall, divine, remembering. Holding on too tight, trying till I'm tired from the fight. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Divine, surrendering. Oh, take me back home again. Oh, I'm walking alone again. Whew. I don't know about you guys, but I was all over my house like a ballerina. uh, that felt amazing. Okay. Whew, so just take a minute and just shake it all off. Shake out the body because wow. Whew. That was super cool. Something just takes over, especially like in these spaces, and you just flow and it just feels so good. So the last thing that I have for us is just some tips for this time, practical and magical. So, just we already spoke to a lot of these things already. Self-discipline, really being real with ourselves, holding ourselves accountable. I always say that you can't bullshit yourself, right? So, like, being so real with yourself, and if you're setting expectations for yourself or filling your schedule too much, or doing like, you just don't overload yourself. Be practical, be really real about, if you're fluctuating energy. As women, our energy ebbs and flows, literally with the cycles of our womb, and it's spiritual and it's scientific. When we are bleeding, our estrogen is at its lowest, and that's when we are hibernating, we're resting. It's called our inner winter. And then as we shift into our follicular phase, that's when our estrogen is starting to rise, but it's called our inner spring, because just as when we see in spring, the plants are kind of underneath the frost and they're stretching and getting ready to come out, but they're still doing that stretching, so it's a time for us to move slow, to make plans for ourselves. And then shifting into our ovulation, our inner summer, that's when our estrogen is at its highest. We're at our most social. That's when we're networking. We're doing all of our plans, doing all the things. And then shifting back into our luteal phase, that's our inner autumn. That's when the estrogen starts to go down again. Progesterone, which is the hormone that makes us sleepy, that starts to rise. So we start to feel that slow down. It's our inner autumn. So it's our time to tie up loose ends, clear our schedule, and prepare for that inner hibernation again. And we go through this every cycle, every 28 to 30 days, we experience all 4 of these seasons in our womb. So this explains why when we're in our ovulation phase, that's when we're our most social. That's when we feel great. We're getting things done. But if we don't know about the cycles of our womb, we don't know how to live in tune with them. And so just listening to our body, allowing ourselves to feel what comes through, right? Really treating the emotions as sacred as they are, because they're all teachers in their own way. But also with that, understanding, just like what Mel said about having that big heart open, and how it is hard, for those of us like that, when we have such big hearts and we feel so big, we need to just remember that that's a sacredness about us, to be able to feel so big. When we had our new moon circle at Sienna's shop in December, she mentioned how she noticed that I'm quick. Things are quick to make me teary eyed. I'm a very sensitive person, and it's true. Corey says it's funny that, like, I'm the most sensitive person he knows and the strongest person that he knows, and it's kind of like both sides of the spectrum, and that intensity to feel, even when we've been hurt so much, and we're still showing up, like, ready to love as hard as we possibly can. That is a gift, even though it feels like a curse sometimes. And just like Mel said, that's exactly what is needed in this time to come. And I love what she said too, because in my mind, I visualize like a shield wall of all of us just ready to go. So yeah, feeling the feels, recognizing that our emotions are sacred and that they're coming up and coming through to help us, to teach us, whether it's to release so that we're not carrying it anymore, whether it's to process, identify something, whatever it is, but feeling those feelings, connecting with the ancestors, connecting with the community. these are all really important things. Coming up before we go, there is a couple things I just wanted to share on for anyone who's local or interested. Daisy in here, we are doing a vision board event on Saturday in Ellenville at Body for Life from 1 to 3. If you go on to my social, Herschel, where is local? Okay, so funny story is I want to make t-shirts because when I say local, I'm thinking of like Lenape territory. And so like when I think I want to get t-shirts made, this is local like Lenape Hoking, which is totally not local because it could be 5 minutes, it could be 3 hours, like, but in my brain it's local. So the Hudson Valley, in New York, but yeah. So we have a vision board event coming up on the 22nd, and then I have a new moon circle at Sienna's shop in Chester on the 29th. And that's the things we have coming up for this month. And then I believe the next closest event too is March 2nd, which is our... Is this the right notebook? Oh my God, the girl with 20 notebooks. Which is our...
It is the Healing for Healers at Elemental.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, it's our Healing for Healers at Elemental. Okay. So yeah, those are the things coming up in person if you guys want to catch us. But with that, our circle is complete, and I just want to thank you guys for being here with me tonight, for circling, for feeling all the things, and really just holding space, you know. And we're doing this again next month. There's going to be a virtual sister circle every month, so that way we can all connect and feel the things and dive in, you know. But I hope you all have a great night. Good night.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yes. Good night, you guys.
Nice.